Actually, the work we do with our 4 pillars, the first pillar is about you, your personality and your character. And that is a very, very strong pillar. What you saw when you came at our open mic session where the kids talk, they recite, they control the crowd. Completely. Our 4-year-olds are able to control the crowd of kids and get them to keep quiet. And when you do that, it does something. You grow 10 foot taller because you're suddenly, wow, I am somebody, but with respect. We always try to include that.
I mean, they're definitely very respectful kids, but they have the space in which they could argue,
and they can take the space.
Exactly. So I think that's what you've provided. But going back to sort of corporate support, and I think that's going to be really important going forward. That we have to bring life to Sauti Kuu. The buildings are there, all that, but there has to be life in there. And Kenyan corporates, African corporates, or African philanthropists, need to come on board to really help make this now, a reality. Because I mean, the buildings are a reality.
I think part of the reason I would appeal for this kind of support is because it's a possibility and an opportunity to have a model that works, that can be replicated without having the burden of having to somehow be answerable to the government or to answerable to some a donor, for example, or be answerable to, because all of the way I've managed to get this far is because the funding I've gotten, it's a lot of discussion, a lot of interaction, but it's unrestricted in that people believed in the vision. So the vision being that there's a space where young people, their families can actually do something with their lives without begging. The begging bowl does not exist at Sauti Kuu. The victim mentality does not exist at Sauti Kuu. The idea that somebody else is going to make my life better, and if that doesn't happen, I fail, does not exist at Sauti Kuu. And that's what Africa needs.
Absolutely.
And the idea that you are not employable unless you have an A grade, that is not enough. What we say is you're employable if you as a person, your personality, is also part of the A that you get. So we work on the personality. We say the grades are fine, but if you have a bad personality or you have no character at all, you won't do the job. We've had enough people we've employed who have the best grades in the world, and in the end we have to let them go. So I think that is something where coming on board with me is helping me to create a model that we can replicate so that you get the quality of young person that you need to work with you in whatever you want to achieve, be it your vision, be it your normal corporate work, or just be it even just somebody who you can interact with socially and in particular politically, because we need young people who make the right decisions about what happens in their countries.
That's, I think that's why, I feel very connected to what you're doing, just because I was a D student most of my life. My teachers had completely written me off. And look at, and I went on to create something, So I think that's why I really kind of resonate with what you're trying to do with the young people. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the opening, and I'm really excited for where we're going to see Sauti Kuu in 5 years' time, and how many Sauti Kuus we're going to see all over Africa, in the time to come.
And Sauti Kuu means powerful voices. So it's bringing that voice, that inner you out, and then letting the world know that it's there. And for me, I take this, I'm very passionate about what I do, because just as what you said, every young person has something to offer. Every young person, they just don't know it yet.
Exactly.
And if you give them the space, then they fly. They get wings and they fly.
True.
And nobody's going to deter them from doing that.
No.
It doesn't matter what anybody tells you. And this is the space where even if at home they're telling you you're useless, you can't do this, you can't do that, at Sauti Kuu you can.
But you also work with the parents, so the parents are sort of realizing that even if the kids are not producing A's and B's, that they can do something with their lives.
In fact, we don't work with any adult who is not a parent. So all of our programs that involve the parents, which are very good programs because they're actually beginning to earn an income, we don't let other adults come unless they have children. And the reason being is because for us, we focus on the kids, but actually the idea is they need to have models and examples at home, and they need to have the space. If you're teaching a young girl to become a leader, to be confident, to have an opinion, and then you don't include her family, and maybe she's in a family like I was of just boys, and the parents are not buying into it, she goes back home and she becomes that small again. So the idea is to have the parents involved. In fact, the parents, some of them tell us that they come to some of our programs because their children bring them there.
Wow.
And one grandmother, because often they're with their grandmothers in the rural area, she said to me, Auma, I didn't think that my grandchild could teach me anything, but my grandchild has taught me. And now we have food on the table and I'm earning money.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're not just working with the kids, but you're working with the entire family.
With the family.
That's
because
amazing.
It's got to be holistic. And the kids are going to go where we are already now trying to go with the parents. Because the whole idea is to also be financially independent. They have so much land.
So much,
They have so much potential to actually, with their small businesses, smallholder farming, they can feed themselves initially. That's the main thing. First, food security. But they can also grow enough to educate their kids, pay for medical, and keep the roof over their heads.
And have dignity, because because they're not going to ask anybody for anything,
exactly.
right? I think that's so important, isn't it? I mean, to have people that just have dignity and just, are able to provide for their children, and it's just, it's so cool.
Our Sauti Kuu parents, we don't give them any money. We don't give the kids any money, and the parents are actually making money through our programs and what they're doing.
I saw the lady that came,
she was there,
just
collecting
incredible.
The money and distributing. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Awesome.
And the kids actually, to be members of Sauti Kuu, they pay a small fee, a very small fee. It's 50 shillings a year, but just the action.
It's like a token, but
it's a token amount to make them own it, because they don't know how expensive it is to put up the buildings and all, but every time I remind them, I tell them, this is yours, this is yours. Respect it, look after it, use it to the best of your ability. Make use of this space, because when I was little like you, I would have loved to have this space. Okay, I had the advantage that when we were younger, it was still quite good to be able to be out there, and we learned a lot just from being in the rural area. But nowadays, nobody wants to really be there. So they're not paying attention to looking after the trees, what is sitting together and telling stories or learning about our culture. Everybody wants to get away, and we're trying to bring it back.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Just value who you are.
And exactly, and respect. I think that's really, really important. Auma, I'm so excited for where Sauti Kuu is going. I'm excited to be part of your journey.
You are.
And I'm really, really keen to see more Kenyans getting on board. So I'm going to appeal to all the Kenyan corporates out there, individuals that want to come and help. There's so much to do to make this a living reality. And in the next few weeks we will be talking to lots more people about what Auma's doing with Sauti Kuu, but also about where Sauti Kuu can be if we all join together and make this happen, not just for Kenya, but for Africa. This is so exciting. Thank you so much, Auma, for coming. Thank you for being part of what you've done for the kids, the impact that you have. Thank you for being part of my life. And I'm very, very excited for you and for the children of Kenya, because I'm not going to leave it as just a Lego. I think this is really something that you've done that makes all of us very proud.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And I welcome everybody to come on board, come and see what we do. It is so multifaceted. There's something for everybody. And I think it's important, because in the future I want to sit back with all of you and say, look at what we created, and it's working, and the kids are in charge, but in a good way. We're not teaching them to be rebels, we're teaching them to be adults that actually have a life that's worth living.